Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Who's here? Hmm? Okay. Hmm. Alright.
Good morning. Can you folks hear me?
Yeah, we'll turn
Okay.
that up a bit.
Yep.
I've got a new phone here, so I've been trying to get it fully configured. Trying to hear through the headphones, and that's not working. So we'll not use the headphones.
Yeah. All right, nippy here this morning. It was 56 degrees in my kitchen this morning.
So we are now awaiting Catherine, it looks like.
Yeah.
Is that all? We'll give her 1 minute here. This background heater will go off in a minute or two. So sorry for the background noise.
I'm not looking forward to returning to the cold next week.
We had snow. We woke up yesterday and there was about an inch of snow on our roof. And some of it's
Yeah.
still there, even though most of it melted elsewhere. On the other hand, you'll have a much nicer background.
I don't know. I'll
We're
be
also
in Boston.
okay. I don't see Catherine yet, and John sent his regrets. He's got a conflict this morning, so I think we will proceed.
I just texted Catherine. She might be en route and have to do it via phone. So
Okay.
she just said about 5 minutes. So we can get started.
Okay, very good. First of all, Jed, would you like to start the recording, and I'll call the meeting to order?
Okay. Oh, well, I don't think so because Jennifer's on and she indicated that we're live. We're probably already live.
Okay, so we're already being recorded, and let's see. And I'd also like to welcome Michael Roush, who's listening in from the Enterprise. Once again, our rules are we're going to go through the agenda, and after the members speak about each item on the agenda, I guess, Michael, you're the only visitor, but feel free to call in.
There's Catherine.
Catherine just joined. Very good. And with that, the attendance is all the members of the committee except for John, who is excused because of a conflict. Just a little heads up here. My wife and I have to head off at about 9:30 towards Boston for a funeral that we just got notified about. So at about that time, if we're still in session, and hopefully not, I'm going to turn the gavel over to Jed to continue the meeting. And Anne Marie, if you have to leave, please turn over the helm of the Zoom call to Jed, please.
Will do.
And Bob, I need to jump off by 9.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Hey, Bob,
Yes.
just so you're in compliance with the open meeting law, I am audio recording this meeting.
Oh, yes, I forgot to ask that. Okay, very good. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Speaking of being in compliance with the open meeting law, I had mentioned that some of our work on the letters that we have been doing had been done in working groups and subcommittees, and MJ called and basically said that those are also covered under the open meeting law. And they've got to be posted, and minutes have to be kept if we do anything that's called like that. So if we do need to go forward with something like that, we'll find a much less formal arrangement to do it, so we can minimize the needs for having to keep minutes on a meeting with 2 or 3 people, despite the fact that it's less than our full quorum.
Is that?
I don't know if that's true.
I don't think that's true at all.
I'll check with MJ, but she said there was a court ruling about that, and when somebody challenged a side meeting, so we will have to get some more guidance on that. But in the meantime, we're not going to be doing any any working group or subcommittee, etc. meetings until we have clearance on that. Okay. Moving forward, we have review and approval of the minutes of our last meeting of the November 30th meeting. And I must admit, once again, I was busy yesterday afternoon and evening and have not read them. So shame on me.
Well,
I know that
you're not alone. I haven't gotten corrections from anybody, so I don't think anybody had a chance to read them. I barely had a chance to get them up.
Oh, I sent them yesterday at 4:30. You didn't get those.
You did, huh?
It's okay to defer to the next meeting to approve minutes.
I'll send them again, Wendy.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Given that at least a quorum of the committee doesn't appear to have read the minutes, then we will defer them to the next meeting. Okay. Moving forward. Kate, we have no public correspondence that I'm aware of. I don't think anything's come into the website. Nothing else really has come in. And our next under old and ongoing business and any associated discussion and follow-on actions. I'm just reading these from Michael in case he hasn't looked at the agenda online. Our first is liaison with the Cape Cod Technology Council's Infrastructure and Broadband Committee. And I'm going to turn this over to Brian in warm Thailand to go through some of the interactions that have gone on with them in the last week.
Not much to report. Everyone's basically scrambling to respond to BEAD and GAP.
Well, the one
meeting this week. Yeah, there's a meeting on Friday, right?
Yes. Anybody who'd like the information about that, just let me know, and I will send the login information. What I am aware of is that there's been a lot of dialogue among both the Cape Cod Technology Council and the Broadband Coalition to discuss requests for letters from both Comcast and Verizon, and also Spectrum, it appears, for support for their applications. And much of the discussion that I've seen focuses on exactly the trap that we uncovered, apparently, that if any of these companies receive funding from the GAP program and use it in, say, in Bourne, that could disqualify Bourne from being eligible for any further funding under BEAD. But be that
a lot
as
of
it
towns
may.
we're refusing to sign letters over these concerns. This and the benefits don't accrue to the town was another theme.
Right. Okay, anyway, that's a discussion that's ongoing. It'll probably be ongoing in the Technology Council tomorrow if anyone would care to listen in. Okay, and that kind of segues into item B, liaison with the cable and broadband committees in other towns, which is where some of this discussion has been ongoing. And Jed, are you aware of any specific discussion about gap or BEAD among the other towns right now?
Well, Falmouth is not going to pursue gap from the last note I saw from them, and they're going to wait until they hire a general manager before they consider BEAD.
Mhm.
I think Wellfleet, I haven't seen anything official, but I think I recall it from the last meeting we were on with the Cape Cod Technology Council. They were considering gap.
Okay.
You know, and the other one might be Truro too, because Truro has more, I think percentage-wise, has more unserved than anybody else in town. On the Cape, I mean.
Okay. Just in terms of best practices, et cetera, are they just asking for waivers for all of the co-funding requirements, I guess, if they're gonna?
I don't know. No, I mean, this was all just informal discussion that I've heard on the side. There's been Truro and Wellfleet haven't met since, I mean, for months. And like I said, Falmouth has punted on gap.
Right. Okay. Boy, if any of the other towns have got till the 11th to get an application in, God bless them if they manage to do that.
Really?
The timeline is just set up for failure.
Yeah, I don't.
Yep.
It's just too tight.
And neither of those towns really have they don't have a group like us that can actually do the application, especially anybody. The only one close might be Wellfleet. And they seem to be, you know, they're building their fiber network. They're really kind of focused on getting those 3 beaches connected, and that's about it.
Yeah, we have the biggest team and we couldn't even come close. It's how badly written it was, how badly it wasn't telegraphed well in advance, and it wasn't. The terms were pretty onerous. It was
right. The matching funds. The matching funds, I think, are the deal breaker for most municipalities because everybody's town meeting based. There's just no way they're going to be able to do that.
We talk about it in the letter, in the BEAD line by line. So maybe we can maybe punt that discussion to the editing in the letter, since that's an opportunity to respond to the state with these concerns that we keep having whenever we look at these programs and find them impossible. That's a good opportunity to air our grievances. So we might want to discuss that later.
Yeah, we'll be spending time. That's down on item F, just a couple further down. Okay, the next is media outreach review and approval. I frankly haven't done anything to come up with anything formal on paper, but essentially anything we say as the committee or for the committee ought to be approved by the committee. That's the bottom line here. So you know, if we were talking to Michael Rausch on the side and have private opinions, make it clear to him that and anybody else that you're stating your own opinion and the committee hasn't reviewed or discussed or whatever on the particular matter that you're talking about.
Right.
Okay.
It seems also clear that once the meeting minutes are approved and I send them into town hall, they can post them whenever they want to. But
of course,
it seems that I could also send those far and wide because they would then be public.
Sure.
It's, you know, it's a week late, but it's better than not getting it out at all.
Right. So, Bob, I think we were carrying this agenda item forward in the event that we had something to review. Right. So do we want to keep it on the agenda? Is that the idea that every meeting we will keep it on the agenda? And if I think for best practice here would be that if anybody wants something to be reviewed at the meeting, it should come out before the meeting.
True.
I used to live with a 24-hour rule back in the day. I don't know how people feel about that.
Try to get it in so people can look at it 24 hours before that. I think that's a best practice. in the real world, yeah, especially with the minutes, given the complexity of like the last discussion. I know Wendy was working on that for hours, and it just may not be practical to get it in, except just before the meeting. And in this case, we're deferring it anyway. But
yeah.
And one workaround that I can do, which would probably fit the letter of the law, although I don't like it, is that I could severely truncate them and make them as almost uncommunicative as most minutes I see posted, and then just say anybody that wants to know anything more can go look up the recording. For people who either won't or can't do that, that's not satisfactory. And I do try to get them out faster. I do. I'm sorry. They've been pretty big lately.
Yeah, no, totally. I think what comes out is good work. It just takes a while. I get that. But I don't know.
Well,
It's a fine line to walk between. Do we get less out sooner or get the full minutes out later? I don't know.
Yeah.
So the rule of, not the rule of law, but a good practice is that to keep in mind when minutes are created is that the general public reading them could understand what was happening in the meeting. So truncating them or, leaving out pertinent information for a full understanding by the general public isn't good practice. So, if it takes longer, it takes longer, but we're obligated and required for the public to have an understanding of what transpired at the meeting.
And that's
how long
my
do
feeling.
we have?
I'm on a mailing list to get the minutes of a parallel committee from another town, and you would never know what the heck they were talking about. They're like one sentence per line and hardly anything there. And I don't know how they can do that, but yeah, there it is.
Well, that's their practice. I mean, in Bourne, that's been the practice for our practices, a little different. So
as a logistical timeline, like what's the maximum time from meeting to post? Because I know we have a lot to do in a short amount of time. Just trying to think through if we just push them all to January 1st.
And that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, it's a recommendation that they be approved at the next meeting, but it's not required.
Right.
And for obvious reasons, we're a perfect case where, we want to make sure we get the right information to the public.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't
had minutes might be slower for a few weeks while we.
That's perfectly fine, Brian.
Yeah, there haven't been that many substantive corrections over the last couple of months that I can recall, so it shouldn't be onerous. I just gotta get it done earlier.
Wendy, just keep in mind that as Anne Marie was saying, keeping the public involved here is really important to us.
Absolutely.
And this is a great education and outreach tool for anybody who would care to take a look at these, and we can distribute it to people who want to know what's going on with the committee. I've encouraged people to sign on, just as a citizen witness, and also if they wanted to look at the meeting minutes. And I don't know how many people have done that, but I know there is some interest out there. So the more we can use these to educate the public, the better off we're going to be later on when we try
I can post the meeting minutes on Facebook. I can send them to the enterprise. I can do all of that. I can send them to our legislative people. They may be too busy to read them themselves, but somebody in their staff will read them and say, "Hey, look at this." So, okay, I will expand the CC list.
Okay, very good. Well, again, we are deferring the last meeting's minute review until our next meeting, which probably is not going to be until January, and we'll go forward from there. Okay, I'm going to close out that item. The next I'm going to talk about is the speed test subcommittee update. I just made my third call into Josh Eichen, and I went in through the switchboard this time and asked them to let me know if he was going to be in the office, and they said we expect him to be, and he answers his phone, but he hasn't responded at all.
Where's his
I
office? I might just sneak up on him.
He's
Westboro,
he's
Westboro?
MBI, right?
right.
Yeah.
I also again communicated again to Sean Gross, who was the contractor who was doing that speed test study program in New Bedford, to just give a plus or minus 25% ballpark estimate of what it would cost for 400 Bourne middle schoolers to run this program. And again, both a phone call and a text to him and an email have not been responded to yet. So, we'll just keep pressing on that. Just for Michael's benefit, the city of New Bedford hired a contractor, this gentleman, Sean Gross, down in DC, who got an app put on all of the Chromebooks that the middle schoolers took home. And these Chromebooks, when they're hooked up to the internet at home, would continuously run speed tests. And the outcome of the speed tests was that after running thousands of these over a month, is that the average connect speed in New Bedford is something like 24 Mbps download and 3 or 4 upload. And so that average is below, well below the minimum for what anybody is considering to be adequate served broadband, so to speak. So we said, why don't we try the same thing in Bourne, since we have a number of complaints in most of the areas of the town about speed and dependability. Anyway, we're trying to find the money to actually implement that through the school system. The school system is willing, but we need to find the resources. Okay. Any other questions on that? I think that's the big item. Oh, also, the Cape Cod Commission does have access to the UCLA speed test data. They have a license, and they are going to be able to give those data to us. I think
according to the email, that it should have been done yesterday.
Yeah, I have not seen a subsequent email saying that we've got it, but I'll let you know.
My impression of what David wrote was that it was up to us to approach the town administrator yesterday.
Wait,
Okay.
So they're sending it to the town administrator?
That's correct. So it's being sent under the guise of the work on the digital equity plan for Bourne, and that is being contracted through the administrator's office. So he sent it to the administrator's office. He said it was going to be sent yesterday. So the implication was, in fact, it might even been explicit, I can't remember the exact wording in the email, was that we were to approach the administrator's office yesterday and that the data would have been made available.
Okay, who wants to do that?
That will be me.
Okay.
It's a start because that data set's useful. It's just not the monthly one that we'd love to have, but it's definitely a good start. So happy the commission was able to arrange that.
Bob, can you CC me on that email, please?
Oh, yes. I will not get to that till late this afternoon.
No worries, just CC me.
Yep. Give me a second.
But yeah, that's a huge score. That having direct access to that data set will be very helpful to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just adding that to my to-do list here. Okay. Which I keep on paper. Okay. Are we done with speed testing? Okay. The next is the select board presentation, again using those banned words, subcommittee update. First of all, I did present and defend both of the letters in support and qualified support to both Comcast and Verizon last Tuesday night. We did get they were approved unanimously, and we did get a very nice compliment back from the chair about thanking us for working hard on very detailed and very technical matters that frankly, there are no resources in terms of personnel in the town who could possibly do anything close to what we're doing. So the committee does view us as an asset, and they appreciate what we're doing. So I think we can keep them on our side. Anne Marie, anything to add to that? Anything that you've heard on the side?
No, just that to continue the work and move forward with recommendations, and hopefully in January. I'm going to think end of January, given the schedules that's been put out so far, to come to the select board and give a full report.
Okay, yep, we'll move forward with that. Okay, the next item, and it's kind of the 800-pound gorilla for today's meeting, is the review and comments and revision of the line-by-line response that a few of us put together. We'll scratch subcommittees from these from now on. But less than a quorum got together, and starting with what Brian and his contractor wonderfully did, the 11-page document, and a couple of us added some other comments, some changes in words, etc., and we've sent that all to you. I think it was more important that you may have read that than necessarily done anything else this week. Has anybody had a chance to look that over? Because we need to approve this today so that it can be put on the agenda, forwarded to the select board, and put on the agenda for next Tuesday's meeting, because it's due the 15th.
Yeah, I've read it. I like it.
I have as well. I think it was done very well.
Okay, congratulations to Brian for doing this. Basically, for finding some of the inconsistencies. Anyway, trap is
my
a
tax
good
return's very late, but my accountant said there's no fine, so I've been pushing it off to work on that.
So yeah, I mean, I'm fine going ahead with it as is. I don't know how anybody else feels.
I liked it as well. Very well written. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very. I particularly like the format and the bullet, the style of the document itself, that highlights specific areas and then gives a really great information with respects to the objections and the concerns. So yeah, it's very well written.
So let me make a motion.
We originally tried to put each bullet point on a separate page for ease and flipping through, but once we edited it down from 10 pages to 7, that really kind of wasn't necessary. So that's how I did it.
So I'll make a motion that we accept this as is and forward it on to the select board for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's seconded. Any further discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor of forwarding this to the select board?
Yeah, do it.
Aye.
Okay. Wendy, can I ask you to forward this to Marlene with copies to Kathleen, I guess to MJ and Anne Marie, and ask for this to be put on the agenda for next Tuesday's meeting, only because I may not get back from this funeral until 4 p.m. today.
Sure. I don't know Kathleen's last name or contact information.
Okay. First initial K, last name Thut, and I spell it Thut. K Thut at townofbourne.com.
Town of Bourne.
I'm sending it to you right now.
Well, thank you. I just wrote it down. All right. I will do that right now, or right after the meeting anyway.
Very good. Okay. And I will be there to present this. Brian, could you possibly be available to be online for next Tuesday's meeting? My guess is that it'll be
you asked
further
nicely,
down.
I'll Uber in and come in person.
Oh, you'll be back. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be jet lagged, but be careful what you wish for. I might come in person.
Drugs are good. What's the date on that? Is that the 12th?
12th.
Yes, okay. Okay. I think I can probably make that too, if that would be useful.
I
Got a
think
warm
so.
place to crash because my house has got no heat.
We have extra
Yeah.
bedrooms and we have heat, so
I
Hey, you
might
can,
take you up on that offer.
it's not a
and here
problem.
too.
Plenty
Yep.
of room.
Yep.
The internet service sucks, but suffer quietly.
I might just fix
Okay.
it if you leave me unattended long enough.
Okay.
And as necessary, what I'll do is I'll put the headings just in case on a flash drive in a PowerPoint, just in case somebody needs to go through this in more detail, as well as the full document. God help us if we have to edit this in front of the committee, but we'll be ready to do it. Okay.
Well, I can bring it on my iPad and do it on the fly if necessary.
Okay. The couple of times I've seen this done, it's been put up on the screen in the room. So a flash drive is the easiest way to do it, starting with the raw document. Okay. Moving forward, boy, we're getting through this quickly today. Joining the Mass Broadband Coalition. I have now attempted to get, the guy's name is Robert Espindola, and his side job is he is chair of the select board in Fairhaven. So he has nothing else to do, of course. But anyway, I've made 3 attempts to contact him. I just yesterday sent him again a message, this time to a third email address, and hopefully he'll respond. I gave him my phone number and said, let's just set up a time to talk. The big items, of course, are just to generally find out what the coalition is doing, number one, and number two, just see what kind of obligations this would entail for Bourne if Bourne were to join this coalition. Do they do things like lobby? Do they have votes or joint letters or anything else that would require select board approval? So I just want to find out what the terms of reference are for the group. And when he gets back, we'll find that out. It is not on their website, so you can kind of infer what they do from the activities on the website, but it just doesn't say what the limits on those are. Okay, any questions on that? Does anybody know any other contact in the broadband coalition that I could pursue?
There's several towns, Falmouth's in there, Quincy's in there. You could ask them if they had to sign anything or agree to anything.
Right. Okay.
Quincy is one we want to make contact with because they went the enterprise fund model, and so they also got some recent legal advice. So they'd be a good one because they're doing it differently than everyone else. So good information transfer might be had from going to them.
Well,
and it's a big town too, so they have more resources.
Well, it's a city, right? They have a different municipal structure.
Okay.
I can call Sam Patterson in Falmouth if you think that'll get me anything.
If you can just get a general idea of what they do, etc., just in case Mr. Espindola is booked. He may well be till the end of the year. Okay, well, we'll leave that. That ends item G. The next item is any further discussion on the letters of qualified support for Verizon and Comcast. Any further inference of what they plan to do. There's been a bit of chatter through the Broadband Coalition and the Technology Council who have been trying to figure that out. And there may be some more discussion on that tomorrow.
Yeah, they're supposed to vote tomorrow on whether they will provide letters of support.
Who's that?
Cape Cod Technology Council. I think it's a board meeting, if I'm not mistaken. I don't. remember exactly who it is, but that was on the agenda, among other things.
Yeah, the infrastructure committee, again, is a subcommittee. They make recommendations to the full board. They don't do anything unilaterally.
Jen, do
Okay.
you know what time that meeting is?
Not offhand. I can forward the Gene Curry email that's got the agenda and all the info. I can send it to the whole group if everybody would like to
Yeah.
see that.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Michael,
I'm sorry. So the select board approved the letters, and they are already part of the official record of the select board now. Then.
yes, presumably. I haven't seen the copy of the fully executed letters. Kathleen usually, when she sends something like that out, copies me on it or copies us. I have not seen that yet, but presumably it's going to go out in the next. If it hasn't gone out, it'll go out in the next day or so.
So it's okay for me to share those.
She emailed yesterday morning with the copies and indicating that they were sent via email, because I sent her Ellen Cummings' email contact information and then the request of whether we needed to send hard copies or not. So she did send that yesterday, but you were on the chain. So
okay, I've got to dig down. I did not see that.
So it's okay for me to release those then?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, those got a lot of, those are pretty detailed. So those would be good to, can I move to, send those to the paper, or do we have to vote on that, or how's this work?
I don't think we have to vote on it. I mean, once they're public record, we can,
We
stick them up
voted on
in
them at
the
the
market basket.
we voted on them on Tuesday.
All right, spread them wide, because
I will
there's
do
some
that.
good details in there for people.
Anne Marie, I have a procedural question right now, going back to one other item. On the line by line response, since we have now agreed to forward that to the full committee, approved it, and to send it to the full select board, is that now public record, or is it only public record once it's attached to the minutes?
Once it's attached to the minutes.
Okay.
So it'll become public record as soon as it becomes part of the packet. If it's on the agenda for select board, it becomes public record. So you'll know that by tomorrow, most likely.
Yeah,
or no later than Monday, because if it's an agenda item, then it becomes public. The packet is public record, and that would be included in the packet.
Okay, very good. Because we've gotten a couple of requests from people who have seen the original letter. The one that was dated, what was that? Dated the 21st, I think. I can't remember the exact date. That was approved. Who wanted to see if there were any subsequent information. One request came in from Senator Moran's office. So once it's in the packet, we can give that to her. Great. Okay. Excellent. Next is the last item on the old and ongoing business is any further information on a point of contact? Not yet?
Not yet. I'm hitting dead ends, but I do have a similar meeting tomorrow morning, and I'm going to, navigate the little first part of that meeting to kind of see if anybody has or knows of a point of contact. So I'll keep plugging away.
Yeah.
It may be that there may not specifically be a point person, from what I'm gathering with the bridge project, and or either that they're just not making the connection. MassDOT bridge program, that the committee that I'm on may not be just making that right connection.
Well, maybe this will prompt them to generate one.
Well, at some point, again, I just saw that a application for the final piece of the funding package for the Sagamore Bridge is or was just submitted, and once they get some more of that in place, I think DOT will appoint a prime contractor, and at that point, there's going to be somebody who's got a checklist inside that contractor who's going to have this as an item on it. So
right.
we need to,
I think that's what's happening, right? There's no
yeah,
specific pathway to that yet.
right. Again, once they name a contractor, we can approach them. That's fairly straightforward, and just say, hey, make sure this is on the the long checklist they're going to have for that bridge project.
By a contractor,
Okay.
you mean a construction contractor or a project manager?
There'll be a general project manager, and then the first thing that goes out will be a detailed design contract. Okay.
Okay.
And there's some kind of there'll be a bridge in between there. The scope of work for the detailed design contract will be prepared by the construction manager and approved by DOT. And it's just a matter of following that through that chain to make sure this item is on the list. And then we find out, again, whose desk this lands on in that design contractor's office.
Right. We'll be a little bit of ways before that happens.
Yeah. But in case a name has already popped up, if you hear about
I'll keep at it.
yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll be in Boston for a bit, so if you need me to drop by random state government offices to ask questions, just tell me where to wheel myself to, and I'll knock on some doors.
I don't think we're at that stage yet, but that's one of your future visits. Okay. Moving forward. Okay. Right now, once we get approval of this long line by line comments and send that out, I think we are done for the year in terms of what we wanted to accomplish. I don't think we need another meeting this year. Next week would really be the only opportunity. People start traveling after that. I think John is already traveling as of next week. So,
and I'm leaving town Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. So, our next meeting would be January 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that look right?
Yeah, that's what I started working on.
Okay.
Okay, if we don't need to have a line item for media outreach, review and approval, you can probably scratch that.
Well, that's what the discussion we had earlier. Should we leave it on here for every meeting? So if anybody brings something forward before the meeting, we would have it on the agenda to review.
Right, because there'll be situations where, we want to, as a committee, submit something to the media. So I think it's a good idea to have it as a standing agenda item.
Okay.
Do we need a 15-minute meeting to approve some media outreach in the meantime and approve minutes or something like that?
Yeah, we could. If we have to get a quorum to attend.
Yeah, maybe we do a real quick, 15-minute, just so we don't get overloaded in January.
Well, I guess, but first we need a quorum. It's not clear we're going to have a quorum in town.
Let's start with the January meeting and get that sorted, and we can discuss what date we might have a tiny window.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I think right now for the focus should be on the report to the select board in January.
Right.
Yeah, maybe we start on that.
Certainly. Yeah.
As far as the subcommittees go, I don't know if you've seen the emails during the meeting that Tony and I exchanged, but we don't agree with what MJ had said. If you look at the open meeting document, it says that a deliberation has to involve a quorum.
Right.
And so that it says that less than a quorum is not deliberation. So they can meet without an agenda, without minutes. The only time it becomes a deliberation is if that small group of 3 then communicates with somebody else, like sends an email, calls somebody up and discusses what the subcommittee's working on. You can't do that. As long as the subcommittee work remains among the 3, then you can meet.
That makes a lot better sense.
It wasn't a formal appointment of subcommittees.
Correct.
I think it's more of a working group tasked with gathering information. So I would have to agree about it not and the important piece here is though that gets reported back to the full committee and to a public entity
Right.
and gets recorded in minutes.
Correct.
So you
that
know, I
covers
think that ruling in particular happened when, you know, a quorum of, I believe, select board members were hanging out at a restaurant and talking, you know, town politics.
Right, it requires a
so
quorum to be a
Agreed.
deliberation.
right.
So we won't call it a subcommittee.
We'll call it a working group.
It
Yeah,
is. It's just committee member. It's just being assigned a task and working together, more than one person working together to achieve that task. Like there's no way the MBI line by line could have been done by one particular
Right.
person.
Yeah.
So the committee should, without fear of violating anything, be able to communicate each other and have a work in progress task to report back to the full committee.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to give it any formal name just because I don't want there to be any thought that this was some kind of a formal body that was created. So
Can I make a suggestion?
Correct.
Just eliminate in the agenda here, eliminate the word subcommittee completely. Speed test update.
Yeah. Yes, right. So the agenda just says speed test update, select board presentation update. So there's no confusion as to whether this is a formal public body.
Good.
But just a note, I mean, from my previous experience, it is okay to have subcommittee meetings that are not open to the public as long as there is no quorum present.
Yes.
Right.
Again, I will get clarification from MJ because she called specifically about the use of those words and those gatherings based on some kind of a court ruling. So I'll get clarification from her again. In fact, I'll invite her to come in and give us clarification at the next meeting if she thinks this is continuing to be an issue. Okay.
I'll tell you something. When we first started getting this thing together, I downloaded a copy of the mass out meeting rules, and in that stuff from the Commonwealth, there's a contact information for the lawyer who is responsible for all of this stuff at the state level. And it says, if you have any questions, email us and we'll get back to you. They get back to me within 24 hours. I mean, they're fast. So it's very possible to not have to get this information second or third hand, because we all know how that works. I think it's probably appropriate to go directly to the horse's mouth, as it were, and ask them what the state of the any court rulings or any other findings that apply to this particular issue, and then we don't have to play telephone.
Okay.
I've used them. They call them the legal counsel of the day. So there's someone on hand every single day at the state ethics. And because I called them about a conflict of interest when certain programs come up that, you know, as a company we're involved in. And I spent an hour actually with, she was wonderful.
Yes, they're great.
I did it via phone. I originally sent email, but there is an option if you email them to ask them to respond to you via telephone or email. And they are very, very thorough, and they get back to you very quickly. So it could be that given the way we structure the work that we do, that you know, we're fine. But it would be good to know from a legal. I was going to suggest approaching our legal counsel, but I think directly to the state would actually work out well.
Yeah, Wendy, would you send me that contact information?
Sure. It's right on the Commonwealth website, but I'll dig it out for you.
Okay. No, if you have it handy, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'll send this to Maria. We can always amend it. I'm going to send it today just so that we have the notice posted in time. And I'll be back on the 16th, so there'll be a few days I'll be here. If somebody wants to add items to the agenda, I can always do an amendment before the 4th. I think we'd have to have it in, I think, by like the 30th because of all the holidays. Or maybe it's the 2nd.
Yeah. Do you think it makes sense to add an item now that states something like, you know, clarification of open meeting law requirements for subcommittees.
Great.
Yes. Get that on the record.
Good idea.
Is that okay there? Do you want to put it in a different spot?
No, that's fine.
Subcommittees is one word, and you could even say subcommittees and working groups, or because those are two different concepts.
I guess in the open meeting law, they just talk about less than a quorum.
Yes. Small c.
Whatever name you want to put on that. Okay, where on the agenda should we put development of the presentation and report for the end of January?
That's under the select board presentation update 4E.
Uh-huh.
Do you want me to make that presentation for January?
Yeah, for January.
I would leave it. I wouldn't specifically say that's the goal. I'm hoping that it is January, but things happen and change, agenda changes. But I would just say select board presentation.
Well, that's the plan, and so
Yeah.
Plan is plan.
I don't know. Is that okay, or should I just leave it as January?
I would just leave it as select board presentation update.
Okay.
Don't get specific to dates and times in an agenda.
Don't try to pin them down, right? Okay.
All right. Everybody happy with the agenda then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And again, there was a mini outline that we put in the minutes. If anybody has amplifications on what they would like to see in that, please, I guess you could either give them, 24 hours before the meeting on the 4th, or bring them to the meeting, and we'll finalize the agenda and figure out how to flesh it out.
Hey, what?
Finalize the presentation, not agenda. Sorry about that. Yeah,
Sure.
the outline at least, and then we can start figuring out how to flesh it out.
Yep, that'll work.
Okay.
Anne Marie, just a target in terms of time for that select board presentation end of January. I'm thinking a PowerPoint, and I would think an high-level overview in 10 minutes without discussion, and then maybe 20 minutes discussion after that at most. Is that about a right target?
Yeah, I think a nice little PowerPoint presentation would be great, and then obviously discussion after with any questions.
Okay.
What are people's schedules?
Sometimes we think agenda items take 5 minutes and take a half an hour.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And
but if you can keep the presentation itself, 5 to 10 minutes, that'd be great, because it would allot a decent amount of time for some discussion and questions.
Right.
Bob, do you want me to call the open meeting law guy, or do you want to do it?
No, I'll do it. I'll do it as chair.
Okay, I'm going to send you that right now.
I'm generally around if we need to set another short meeting to move some stuff along. I don't know whatever else the schedule is going to be, because it's the holidays after all.
No, I think the biggest item is just getting ready for this show and tell in front of the select board, and those are always televised live and always recorded. So at some point there'll be a YouTube out there, and maybe we can this is something we can use as our elevator speech, so to speak, for anybody else who's interested. Play this over and over again if it's done right.
Yep.
This is on me there.
What's the deadline for stuff to go to town meeting, to be added to the town meeting agenda?
Well, Do you mean citizens petition or do you mean budget?
No, the warrant. This, if we're asking for any type of
Money.
then it would be a warrant article. So,
you just
we're
voted
just
on
opening
that.
up, I think, December 15th, the warrants, and it closes March 29th.
Okay.
Okay.
We should probably match that along with the bead timeline to see if there's any gotchas.
Right, but we
ahead of time.
shouldn't, I mean, they're already starting to discuss the budget. Right, I don't think we want to walk in middle of March and propose more money. We should give them a heads up if we're thinking
Oh,
about
yeah.
it.
So if in the presentation, we have any type of inkling of monies that were needed, I would suggest at that point in time, requesting.
Yep.
If there's,
Uh-huh.
right, for any type of capital, or speed test, I don't think necessarily, I'm not sure the avenue, if that's considered capital, a capital project and would have to be approved by capital outlay. I would have to find out the answer to that. But I believe if we need monies, if that's what you're getting at, then that's like a more of a contractual grab as opposed to a capital plan, like a capital program. So yeah, if we have any inclining that we can't get funding sources from someplace else, then I would suggest possibly in January, if we have an answer to that, to ask then.
So we say, okay, so we got to have our bead plan roughly figured out for that presentation then in January.
If that's the goal, yeah,
Well,
January, February,
We at least need a place.
we're looking at Maytown meeting. Maytown meeting's the big one with
If
money.
we think that we're going to need something, we should at least have a placeholder in there. I don't think you need the exact number, but you need.
No, you don't.
You need order of magnitude anyway. How many zeros?
Yeah, a play like we did with the community engagement committee. We didn't have an exact number yet. The committee, was deliberating on it. So, but we did have a placeholder as an article. So
okay,
that's more involved discussion, I think, that, as a committee we should have, and then with the select board too.
Yeah, just trying to think ahead so we don't have any more of these emergencies like we've had with the Gap trying to scramble and have no tools available. So just making sure we understand the timeline and those constraints.
Well, one of the characteristics of MBI seems to be that they release these things almost when they're due. I mean, they were talking about in the BEAD Internet for All documents, there's someplace where they talk about, well, when we're ready for the speed test, we'll announce exactly when that's going to be a week beforehand. So you have a week to get ready, a week to line everything up, et cetera, and then execute whatever they've got in their regulations. And you won't know about it until a week beforehand. And that may well be when they come out with the RFP for BEAD. Okay, you have 30 days to come up with a 300-page application.
Right.
Yeah, so we probably need to have our very round numbers sorted out by January. Okay, be fun.
Something for you to read on the plane, Brian.
I think we're done. Can I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Yes. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody opposed, presumably. Okay. Thank you all very much, and I hope you all have great and restful holidays. And maybe after we get past this January presentation, we can go to bi-weekly meetings, something like that.
That would be lovely.
With a little less level of franticness, if that's a word.
Right.
And Wendy jumps all over me because that isn't a word. She's already got her elements of style opened up to tell me I'm wrong. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Great working with you all. I think
Thank you.
we've had a very successful
Happy
4 months here.
holidays. Happy New Year.
Okay.
Good
Goodbye
job.
to all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.